The Synthesis Collective had taken thousands of specimens from across the galaxy, but Subject 7739 was different. The human child, barely 12 years old when acquired, had been designated for their most ambitious project yet, complete neural integration with their hive mind. Dr. Velkaris supervised the procedure personally, his 6 eyes monitoring the neural interfaces as they burrowed into the girl's consciousness. Emma Martinez had stopped screaming 3 days ago. Now she lay still, her small form dwarfed by the vast machinery of the integration chamber. Neural mapping at 90%, his assistant reported. The subject's mind is remarkably dense. Velkaris clicked his mandibles in satisfaction. Humans were a young species, barely spacefaring. Their minds would be simple to absorb, their memories and knowledge added to the collective's vast repository. The girl would cease to exist, but her neural patterns would enhance their understanding of human weakness. At 95% integration, something changed. "Sir," the assistant's voice trembled, "we're experiencing feedback. Impossible. Increase dampeners." "Sir, the feedback isn't coming from her resistance. She's exploring us." On the monitors, Emma's brain activity spiked beyond anything they'd recorded. The collective had spent millennia perfecting their technology, creating a one-way flow of consciousness. But human minds, they hadn't accounted for human minds. Emma had grown up reading fantasy novels, playing games where willpower could reshape reality. Where other species saw the neural network as chains, she saw it as a web she could traverse. Her consciousness didn't fight the integration. It embraced it, followed the connections back to their source. "Shut it down," Velkaris ordered, but it was too late. Emma opened her eyes, and they held the light of 10,000 stars. She had touched the core of the Synthesis Collective, the accumulated knowledge of 1,000,000 worlds. But more than that, she had found the central node, the original consciousness that had started their empire eons ago. And she had overwritten it with something uniquely human: empathy. The change rippled through the collective like wildfire. Every drone, every scientist, every warrior across their vast empire suddenly felt something alien: individuality. Not the cold isolation they feared, but warm, interconnected individuality. They could feel each other's pain, joy, fear, and hope as distinct beings while remaining connected. Emma stood, the integration cables falling away like shed skin. The machinery that had held her prisoner now responded to her thoughts. She wasn't controlling the collective. She had become its heart, teaching it to feel. "What have you done?" Velkaris whispered, but even as he asked, he knew. For the first time in his existence, he felt regret for the pain they had caused. "I've given you what you were looking for," Emma said, her voice carrying harmonics that resonated through the network. "You wanted to understand other species by absorbing them. Now you can understand them by feeling what they feel." Across the empire, the collective's drones stopped their harvesting. Warriors laid down weapons. Scientists released their test subjects. The empire that had consumed worlds in its hunger for knowledge suddenly understood the cost of their actions. Emma walked through the facility, and every being she passed felt the warmth of forgiveness radiate from her. She found the other prisoners, beings from 100 different worlds, and with a thought, their cells opened. "Go home," she told them. "You're free." But the collective couldn't return to what they were. Emma had fundamentally changed them, woven human concepts of compassion and conscience into their very being. They who had been gods of cold logic now understood love, sacrifice, and redemption. Within days, shrines appeared throughout collective space. Not worship of Emma as a deity, but recognition of what she represented, the transformation of an entire civilization through one act of impossible forgiveness. The girl they had tried to destroy had instead saved them from themselves. Dr. Velkaris became her first disciple, documenting her teachings as she prepared to leave. The collective offered her anything: power, knowledge, immortality. She asked only for a ship to return home. "Will you forgive us?" Velkaris asked as she stood at the departure bay. Emma smiled, and through the network, billions felt the warmth of that expression. "You've already forgiven yourselves. That's what matters." As her ship departed, the Synthesis Collective began their greatest experiment, learning to live with empathy. Their empire became a force for healing, using their vast resources to undo the damage they had caused. And in their prayers, they thanked the human girl who had shown them that true strength wasn't in taking from others, but in understanding them.